60% of its food and almost all raw materials. Steel, oil, rubber, aluminum, everything had to be imported. Britain's industrial power depended on global trade. When war began, Germany's strategy was economic strangulation. U-boats would sink merchant ships. The Luftwaffe would bomb ports. If Britain couldn't import, Britain would starve. To fight the war, Britain needed massive imports from the only supplier capable of providing them, the United States. Tanks, planes, steel, oil, ammunition, food, everything had to come from America across 3,000 miles of U-boat-infested Atlantic. But America in 1939 was neutral. The American public was isolationist. Congress had passed neutrality acts containing a provision called cash and carry. Britain could buy American supplies, but only if it paid cash immediately and transported goods on its own ships. No credit, no loans. This created Britain's trap. Britain needed billions in supplies. But Britain could only pay in gold, dollars, or by selling assets. And all three were finite. From September 1939 to December 1940, Britain hemorrhaged wealth. The British Purchasing Commission ordered $4.5 billion in goods. To pay, Britain liquidated everything. First went the gold. In Operation Fish, Britain loaded $2 billion in gold bars onto battleships and shipped them to Canada, then to New York to pay American suppliers. It was the largest movement of physical wealth in history. Second went securities. Britain ordered citizens to surrender all American stocks and bonds. The government sold them on the New York Stock Exchange, raising $1 billion. Third went overseas investments. Britain began selling income-generating assets at fire sale prices. But selling these investments was devastating because they generated $500 million annually in income that balanced Britain's trade deficit. By December 1940, Britain faced mathematical bankruptcy. Gold, gone. Securities, sold. Easily liquidated assets, exhausted. Britain still needed $3 billion in supplies already ordered and couldn't pay. This is when Winston Churchill wrote his letter to Franklin Roosevelt. December 8th, 1940. Churchill explained the U-boat threat, the desperate need for destroyers and aircraft. But the core message was simple. Britain was broke and could no longer pay cash for American supplies. Roosevelt understood the stakes. If Britain fell, Germany would control Europe and threaten America. But Roosevelt faced legal and political obstacles. The Neutrality Acts prohibited loans to belligerent nations. The American public opposed aid. Isolationists argued Britain was rich and trying to trick America. Roosevelt needed a mechanism that appeared to be a business deal, not charity. The solution was Lend-Lease. Roosevelt explained it with a folksy analogy. If your neighbor's house catches fire and I have a garden hose, I don't say, neighbor, my garden hose cost me $15. You have to pay me $15. I lend him the hose and he gives it back when the fire is out. It sounded generous. It sounded neighborly. But the negotiations behind closed doors were different. This wasn't neighbors helping neighbors. This was a foreclosure. The man running the American negotiation was Henry Morgenthau, Jr., Secretary of the